As you can see behind me, I'll just ask my cameraman Sledge to pan a bit. Maybe I'll just step out of the shot to show you the hordes and hordes of people that have come to collect their grants. As you can see, they are pushing, they are shoving, they are not adhering, to the president's call. It was said that the elderly could send their children or their grandchildren to come get their grants for them, but it's become a bit of a problem because they were seen pushing and shoving the elderly out of the way so they could get the money for, their family member. At the specific shopping center, they are only letting a few people in at a time. They were hoping that the Department of Social Development, was hoping that this would lessen congestion, where not so many people will come at a time. But in the two locations that I've been thus far, I've seen thousands or hundreds and thousands of people lining up, to get their SASSA grants.
And Kim, of course, as we can see, some of the people there behind you, with regard to prioritizing the elderly, is that being observed at the shopping center behind you at the moment?
At the shopping centre I'm currently at Njoli Shopping Mall, it hasn't been adhered to at all. Like I said, the youth are pushing and shoving the old and the disabled out of the way so that they could go get, the social grant money for their granny or for their grandpa or for their mum or for their dad. So it's a bit of a tough time. I'd spoken to a lady earlier this morning. She said she's rather just going to go home because she doesn't want to get pushed around by people just to get money. She said her money will be in account for a long time, so she's going to come on a day when it's not so full. And that is what the social development, what they want, the Department of Social Development want, people to know that the money in their account isn't going anywhere. It will always be there, so they don't need to rush, to get their money today, to rush to get their groceries today, because that's what's happening here. Everyone is rushing to get their money so they can buy groceries for this lockdown. And because at the shopping mall there is a boxer where everyone is rushing to, as well as ATMs where people can withdraw money.
And just a final question, Kim. The Minister of Social Development earlier, speaking to Criselda Lewis in Alexandra, north of Johannesburg, said that there obviously was some conversation had at interministerial level. So is there any sight of any South African National Defence Force members or South African Police Force members out and about this morning?
Earlier, we did see the police and the metro traffic. They were here trying to chase away people, who didn't have their ID documents or their SASSA card on them, because, that was a call that all those taking public transport coming to fetch their grant money to have their IDs and their SASSA cards on them. So they were here earlier this morning. I think they're patrolling all the areas, going to all the hotspots where we know big hordes of people are, because, people are out in the street, they're standing, they're watching, they're not in their homes, adhering to the president's call, to stay inside for this shutdown.
Well, thank you so much for that update, Kim Daniels, our reporter in Port Elizabeth. And let's